Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Things Love. I'm your host, Kelly Garnett from Sacred Dating. And my honor today and my guest is Arielle Ford. She is a love alchemist. That's amazing. She's a best-selling author, which we're going to get into, and a passionate guide for women ready to find love, keep love, and be love. Yes, yes, and yes. I love this. Welcome, Ariel. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I'm excited to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm excited too. So, on my shows, I love to start with a question and end with a question. And the first question to start is, what do most people, or most women, since you've worked mostly with women, get wrong about love?
Well, just so you know, this is my favorite question ever,
Wow.
ever. Okay, because here in the English language, we only have one word for love.
Hmm.
Now, in Greek, they have six, Persian has 62, Sanskrit has 100. We
What?
have one word. And for most women, they think that love is the state of being in love. Now, the state of being in love is your brain on the finest drugs God ever created. It's your brain cascading waves of dopamine and adrenaline and oxytocin and serotonin and things I can't even pronounce. And you're having this experience where you're just it feels like there's champagne bubbles going through your bloodstream, and you're
Yeah.
just in the most ecstatic state, and you're doing all of this with a total stranger. You do not know this person, and yet you're willing to commit everything to them based on a drug high.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's what I've learned at the ripe old age of 73 is
You're
that
73?
I am
Oh my
absolutely.
God, you look amazing.
It's the Zoom filters. I
That's fair.
love the Zoom filters.
I know. That's why I use
They're the
it.
best. They're so great. So love is a behavior.
Mm,
Love is a choice. Love is a decision. It's a way of being.
mm,
And there are good feelings that come and go, but the state of being in love is not love. So people go out and they want to date or they want to meet people, and they're looking to have butterflies in their stomach.
yeah.
They're looking for feelings.
Yeah.
And I tell them, if you have a bad history of having a lousy picker for men
Hmm.
and you feel butterflies in your stomach,
Hmm.
that is the biggest red flag you could possibly have. That means you just looked into the eyes of your, um, hang on one second. I got to turn this off.
Butterfly.
Um, let's see, I'm going to turn it off completely.
Okay.
Go away, turn off. Siri, just turn yourself off. Um, yeah, so
The butterflies.
butterflies in your stomach, having this connection. Now, what you really want to be looking for is, does the conversation flow? You know, are you interested in knowing more about him or her? Are they interested in knowing more about you? You don't want to grill them like you're, hiring them for a job because you're not. So for me, understanding what love is critical to having your ideal soulmate, life partner, best friend, biggest cheerleader, safe place to land. And that's really what we all want, because at the end of the day, humans are kind of simple. We're really looking to be loved, respected, and appreciated for who we are. And we need to feel emotionally and physically safe. And we want somebody we can trust that will
Hmm.
take a bullet for us.
Hmm.
And if you think that making a soulmate wish list is going to bring you somebody who can make you happy, well, then you are on drugs. Okay. Because really, that old saying, opposites attract. there's a lot of truth to that. Alison Armstrong, who we were talking about earlier, said the most brilliant thing years ago. She said, most women are looking for the hairy version of themselves,
Yep.
right? And
Heard
that's
that.
not what you're looking for.
No.
It may seem like it. Oh, okay, well, let's see. I'm a vegan who loves hot yoga and has a green drink for breakfast every day, and I only want to go on vacations to ashrams where I can do hot yoga, blah, 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 blah. No, no, sorry. That's just not the key to happiness. The key to happiness is finding somebody that you have a shared vision for the future.
Mm.
I want kids, you want kids. I like living in a sunny beach access location. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm a spiritual mutt. I'm interested in spirituality, but I don't go to church or temple on a regular basis. Just sort of
Yeah.
the big stuff. And then
Mm.
after that, are you curious about them and are they curious about you? And can you have fun together? And can you also have the heavy conversations? Like I always tell people, the single most important thing you need to know about picking a life partner is, are they financially responsible? Not rich. Rich money comes and goes.
Yeah, that's
But
for
can
sure.
they take care of the money that they have?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot to know. So I always tell people, if you meet somebody and you fall in love and you're 37 and your eggs are screaming, don't do anything stupid. Go get your eggs frozen.
A lot
And
of
a lot of that is the subject of my book, my novel, The Love Thief, which we can talk about later.
yeah, I can't wait to dive into that. That is so brilliant. Boy, I mean, this sounds like something you've talked about before. I
Well,
get,
they say that necessity is the mother of invention,
yeah,
right? So I was a first-time bride at the age of 44. And,
man.
we got engaged 3 weeks after we met. But
Wow.
I knew enough that we weren't going to get married for a year. I had done enough Dr. Pat Allen workshops that I was like, okay, I don't know this guy. I'm having all these good feelings, but and he looks good and he's got a nice car and a good job and blah, 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 but I don't know him. I need to know him. So we got married a year later. And then once we were married, I didn't know that I had no partnership skills. The thing I was best at, I'm an entrepreneur, I run businesses. The thing I excelled at was being the boss. I didn't know that if you have an alpha male, being the boss is like a sure way to divorce court. So, all of this stuff, I decided at that point in my life, because I had another business that was not involved with the subject of love, I figured out I need to become a student of love. I need
Mm,
to figure this out. And
hmm.
that's how I got into this, was just I knew I had a great guy, but I also knew I was going to blow it if I didn't figure it out.
Wow. I mean, exact same journey. I had done so much inner work on myself. I have a master's degree in spiritual psychology from the University of Santa Monica. I was researching, dating and relationships and all those things. And then I got into the relationship, and it's like, oh, relationship intelligence, emotional intelligence, I have. Relationship intelligence, that's a whole other beast to
Yeah.
tackle. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it's so
By the way, I have a zillion friends who have their spiritual psychology degrees from USM, a
no
ton.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, I love. Oh, the building's gone now, and Mary's still running it, the professors, but Ron's
Yeah.
kind of.
I know Mary and Ron. I know all those folks are great. I even got to spend time with JR over the years because so many of my friends are in MSIA, which, he was never my guru, but I so knew he had to be really good because the people who follow him are just the coolest.
Beautiful people.
Yeah.
My acupuncturist here in San Diego was his neighbor
Oh, wow.
and used to go over and listen to him when she was younger. And she's like, he just was so transcendent. Like he was next
Yeah.
level. When he spoke, it was something other. It wasn't him. I only got to see him at my graduation. I didn't get to meet him officially, but yeah, what they created was outstanding,
Yes.
amazing.
Beautiful.
But um, and in that program was literally how to elevate to that up the they have the goal line and the learning line. The goal line is basically the ego, and the learning line is love. At the top of it is just
Mhm.
residing, like Jesus and Buddha and all those people that were just always residing in their loving. So all this excavation work I did to get to that place of trying to emulate that loving on a regular basis, and then life happens, lifes, and we get the challenges that teach us, okay, so now what? How can I be in my loving in this place? And
Right.
it's been a journey for sure. And that's why I created this channel, because I was like, I need to get this out as a mission statement for like, how can we up level how we show up in love and how we navigate
Well,
relationships.
it's funny we're talking about this because for a long time, on the top of my website, it says, find love, keep love, be love.
Yeah.
And these days, I'm not at all interested in talking about finding love or keeping love. I'm most interested in being love. So
Yeah.
I've been like writing down. I'll read some of this to you because I haven't talked about it that much. But for me, being love is to choose in each moment to embody the qualities of love: kindness, presence, compassion, honesty, regardless of what's happening around you. It's
Mm,
not something you wait to feel. It's something you practice being, especially when it's hardest. So that's sort of what's
perfect.
got my curiosity these days is, and I came up with this. No, I didn't know. No, I stole this word from somebody. I didn't come up with it. Macro dosing love. So when I wake up in the morning, I think about how will I macrodose love today? Because everybody's talking about microdosing psychedelics, and I'm a boomer. We didn't microdose anything. We did the full dose, you guys. We did it all. The idea of microdosing a little bit of LSD or mushrooms or whatever, it's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
let's have the full effect. I don't want to be walking around having half of a hallucination. I want to have the full dose. So macrodosing love
I
is
love
is
that.
like, how can I be in this ongoing state of being connected to my heart and appreciating the beauty? Like, we both live in San Diego. I mean, you can't not see beauty. It's
No.
just everywhere.
Every time I drive by the water, I'm just like, I live here, and I just am so present to gratitude and love. And it's been that's a whole story, but off and on living here and wanting to be here forever, it hadn't happened
Yeah.
until now. And so it's been a long time coming and a journey to get here back again, but just, oh, I love it so much. For me, what I've been working with is activating love. And that really, I think, came from USM, is how can I activate the love inside of me that already exists? Because nobody hands us love on a silver platter. And I was a teacher in my former life, and I would actually talk to my second graders about this. Like, I want you guys to know that you don't need to seek outside of yourself for love. It's already within you. And it is a choice moment by moment for sure. But when you sit and get quiet and think about the person, place, thing that you love the most, for me, it's Crystal Pier of a place. Crystal Pier is one
Do
of
you
my.
know they painted all the cottages? We were
Oh,
down there
did they?
Sunday. Yeah,
Oh,
it's all bright and shiny and pretty.
I love it there so much. That would be my place to think about if I couldn't access anything else. And just feeling that, I mean, even as I'm talking to you and closing my eyes, like, oh my God, it just fills up my whole being with so much love and joy thinking about it. So, um, I also, in order to have love, we have to be loved, but I also think it's that activating our loving. And it is a choice moment by moment, where we have to
There's
realign.
one of the ways I can shortcut to getting there is
Yeah.
there's a line in A Course in Miracles that says, "In this moment, I have everything that I need."
Mm,
And for
yes.
me, that's always true. I have fresh air to breathe, clean water to drink, some place to sit, people that I know love me, that I love. So if whatever mishigosh is going on and making me crazy, I just remind myself, oh yeah, in this moment, I have everything that I need. And it is always true. It's just when I'm stepping into the future or the past, I can, go down a rabbit hole and come up with a whole big story of what's not right.
Oh goodness, absolutely. You're singing my tune here because that's me too. Like just stay in the moment, access that loving right here, right now. And yeah, when you do that, even if your circumstances aren't ideal, you can always be aware of something, grateful for something that can help you to be in that place of loving. It's just, uh, it's amazing. And so, I mean, I'm going to launch a workshop around, using your dog to connect to your own loving because they are, God spelled backwards. Like
Yes.
that's not an
Well,
accident.
cats are not God spelled backwards, but for
No, but
me, it's cat. I love dogs, but I have cats, and they're just extraordinary purveyors of
yes.
healing and warmth and love and companionship. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yes.
I read somewhere today this morning that says having a dog is like having a toddler who's crazy in love with you, and having a cat is like having a teenager.
So perfect. Loves you, but wants to be away
Right.
from you a lot of the
Not
time.
for long, not for long, like you can only pet me for just so long, and then I'm going to scratch you and take off.
That's the only thing that's different about the cat, I feel like, is they prefer oftentimes independence, where a dog
Yeah,
could sit cuddling all day long.
right.
So, and I don't have a dog yet, but I get the whole dog is like my baby, like
Yeah.
they just
Oh,
are so
yeah.
precious. And the cats too. I mean, any pet that you resonate and can feel a connection with is
And I just saw a piece on the news the other day. Now they have these humanoid robotics, and some of them look like dogs. So pretty soon, if all you want to do is plug your dog in and not feed it, you'll be able to do that too.
wow. I don't That's hard though because they're not a living, breathing thing and it's not authentic, like,
Well, they probably could put a heartbeat in there. Who knows?
oh my gosh, where are we in this world, this lifetime? It's unbelievable what's coming down the pike. Watching these robots dance and it's
I saw one, and it was in Japan or China. There was this robot, and he was like throwing balls and having fun. And then there was like a 3-year-old in the sidelines, and he threw the ball so hard at the 3-year-old that it knocked the kid down. The kid did not get hurt, but it's one of those things that went viral. Like 10 billion people saw the robot trashing the little boy.
yeah, it's so crazy where we're at. So you've got your huge poster back there with an amazing cover of The Love Thief. And when was this released?
Oh, that's kind of a long, crazy story, but Hay House put it out July 22nd last summer, so
Okay.
almost a year ago. There was an earlier version uh, that I self-published because I
Oh,
had written 11 nonfiction books, but never fiction. And so I didn't even try to shop the book. I thought, well, I have no credibility as a novelist. So
mhm.
let's just see what happens with it. And it was the most amazing thing. Uh, I got it out there, and then three different people who were authors at Hay House had read it and sent it to Hay House and so then Hay House came to me and said, yeah, we want to do it, and they redid the cover, but they didn't change a word of the book. The book is 100% what I originally wrote. It took 5.5 years
Wow.
because I didn't know how to write fiction. I had to learn, it
What
was,
inspired you to go that route?
well, here's what happened. I never once in my life had the conscious thought, oh, I should write a novel. Never. And then I started to see a movie in my head. I kept seeing this movie and this story. And then the first line of the book came, and I was like, ooh, that's really good. And it just, and finally, I didn't want to write it, but it was inside of me kicking and screaming to get out. And we were in the pandemic and I wasn't traveling and speaking and doing the stuff I used to do. So I had plenty of time. So I just started writing. And
Wow.
yeah, I'm glad that I did it. And I'm not sure I would ever do it again. Unless another story came to me that way. But it was quite a process. But what's happening now is MGM Studios has optioned it for a series.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so we're in that process. And so that's been very exciting. And
What?
my executive producer, who actually committed to the book after I wrote the first 30 pages of it, I sent her these pages because I knew she'd relate to my evil villain in the book. Everybody hates him from page one.
Oh
And
wow.
she called me immediately. She's a big, big time producer. And she said, I'm turning this into a series. So she committed in 2019 to
Oh my
this. And then we
gosh.
had the writer's strike and,
Oh yeah.
all of that. So nothing happened until uh, last year when she called and said, yeah, MGM's sending you paperwork. We're going to make a series.
Oh
So,
my.
so here's this is how she describes the book. She says it's Eat, Pray, Love meets Dirty John.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
exactly what it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Congratulations.
Well, we'll see what happens. They just made an AI film for $2,000. And, so who knows what's
No.
going to happen. Here's my plan. One night in the future, my husband and I will be sitting in bed and we'll turn on the TV. And the episode one of The Love Thief will come on. We'll watch it. And most importantly, we'll like it. And that's when we'll break out the champagne. Because until that moment, there's like 100 steps.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
go, I lived in LA long enough to know, like, okay, yeah, well, step one, big, very big success. Yay. But
Yes.
now getting to step two, because we have to find the writer showrunner, that's taking a long time. So who knows? But I'm just excited that the people who read the book like get in touch with me and tell me, oh my God, I saw myself in this book, or I learned so much, or I feel so healed now because it's about this 38-year-old woman who, in her entire life, all she wanted was the white picket fence.
Yeah.
The two kids, the golden retriever, the handsome husband, the vacations in Tahoe. That was her whole life. And now she's just about to turn 38. Not happening, not happening, not happening. She's out of her mind, thinking about she has a small inheritance from her grandfather. Should she spend it to freeze her eggs? All this stuff happens. And then one night she meets him in Rancho Santa Fe at a
No.
yes, this big gala that she's catering. She's a chef. And it's
Ah,
all beautiful and magical and romantic and fabulous until he breaks her heart, crushes her dreams, and steals her money. And she is devastated, just totally devastated. He's a toxic narcissist sociopath. Very handsome, very charming, very charismatic,
as they are.
deadly. Yeah, as they are. And
Oh,
anyway, she ends up going to India because as a chef, she wants to learn how to cook Indian comfort food. Um, and because there's a potential job that needs that. And she's not into spirituality. Her mother was a new age baby boomer, Esther Hicks Cruz kind of person who
okay.
who used to hang dream catchers over her crib. So
Yes.
she's anti everything new
Wow.
age, like not interested at all. And but she goes to India and starts to have these remarkable experiences. And she ends up her heart gets healed and she gets on this path. And it's just this beautiful, beautiful story. And along the way, there's a lot of turmoil, but I can tell you it has a happy ending.
Yay.
Yay.
Now, if I read correctly, it's based on a true story.
Yes, and the first page of the book says this story was inspired by actual events.
Okay.
Names and circumstances have been changed to protect both the guilty and the innocent. So most of everything you will read, like if we sat down, I could tell you what parts are really true and what parts I made up to enhance certain things.
Mm.
But, that's sort of book club conversation for people who book.
Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
that. So, in this journey, how was it different than like doing your nonfiction books?
Oh, completely different because with nonfiction, I could sit down every day for 6 months and write 500 words a day. And at
Mm,
the end of 6 months, I would have a book.
mhm,
And I had a lot of source material to go to. So I always saw myself not so much as the originator of ideas, but a reporter of, gathering all the best information. I mean, the one book I wrote that was extremely original was called Wabi Sabi Love,
mhm,
which is based on the Japanese concept of finding beauty and perfection in imperfection. And
mm.
that was a different kind of book, and it took me a little longer. But all the other books are very self-helpy kind of things. So writing fiction was very different. And fortunately, I did have this movie going in my head, so I always
Yeah.
knew where the story was going. But I had to learn how to write dialogue. There's no
Oh,
dialogue in self-help books, right? And I had, the key word in fiction is show, don't tell.
mm,
In self-help, people really want you to be the teacher. They want to love you, but they also want to know that you're an authority in a particular subject or you're quoting authorities,
yeah.
right? So that was not available. So the way I describe it is imagine that you're the world's best manicurist. I mean, you just excel at all kinds of manicures. And then one day somebody comes in, hands you a scalpel and says, today you're doing brain surgery.
Oh
That's
my God.
how different it is.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
it's not so the only thing that fiction and nonfiction have in common is that they both use words. Other than that, there's no correlation. So being good at writing nonfiction, which I knew I was a good nonfiction writer,
Yeah.
doesn't correlate to knowing what the hell you're doing with fiction. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's a great analogy and really
yeah,
intense. Holy
very
cow.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, where did the title, The Love Thief, come from? The
Uh,
character who stole
So
everything?
originally, the book was called The Love Walla because in India, a walla is someone who's the best at what they do.
Oh,
And the hero of the book is somebody who is a very kind, loving person and knows how to teach love. So I
mm.
was just so attached to this title, The Love Walla. I just loved it. The license plate on my car says Love Walla. I
No
mean, that's how
way.
attached I was. And towards the end of the book, I had sent the manuscript to what's called a book doctor in the UK because I had to read. I had written a lot of pandemic related stuff in the book, and I knew it had to come out because I knew the pandemic was ending, and who wants
Yeah.
to be reminded of that? So I got all these notes back from the woman who was editing, and then I did a Zoom call with her to ask her more questions. And at the end of the call, she says to me, "Oh, by the way, you have to change the title of the book." I was like, "Why?" And she said, "Well, here in the UK, calling somebody a walla is a racial slur. And
Ooh.
my books always sold well in the UK." And I was
Oh,
like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" I mean, I knew I had to change it, but to what? So that night or a few nights later, it was very, very late. My husband was sound asleep. I'm sitting up in bed. It was a moonless night. I have windows all over, and we're near the ocean, so I could hear the ocean roaring. And I have an amazing sister who's on the other side. And I said to her out loud, I said, "Okay, Debbie, I think I know what I want the title to be, and I'm going to tell it to you. And I need you to send me a sign if this is the title." And I said, "What do you think of The Love Thief?" And at that moment, I saw a falling star. And that was it. That was the title, The Love
wow.
Thief.
Oh, oh my gosh. Now it sounds like you channeled this book more than sat down and like
It
it.
was sort of yes, there's definitely a channeling component to it because the story just kept coming. And of course, there's the parts of it that are happened and the events that happened.
Right.
And then it just, it just became obvious having all my many writer friends reading and giving me notes saying, oh, okay, but when I got to this, I really wanted to know more about that. And
Mm,
how does this character really fit in? So it
mm,
was having a community. They say it takes a village.
yes.
I had mine was much bigger than a village. I had a math, and unfortunately, I have a lot of friends who are really smart who are
Oh,
also writers. So
nice.
that's why it took 5.5 years,
Mm.
so it all came to me and it was fun. And now when I've gone back to read it, I sometimes go, where did these words come from? Like
Ugh,
who wrote this? Like there'll
yeah.
be a lot, like there's this line in the book where Holly, my protagonist, is talking to the hero of the book who's a retired uh professor of psychology.
Oh.
And she's whining and she says to him, but did he ever love me? That's all did he ever love me? And he says to her, Holly, a man like this has no capacity for love.
Mm.
Asking a man like this to love you is like asking a man with no arms to hold you.
Wow. Oh, oh, oh.
I mean, that is my favorite line in the book because it
Wow.
so encapsulates the experience. Because as a sociopath, toxic narcissist will do, he love bombed her in the beginning, whispered in her ear everything she ever wanted to hear, had this incredible experience of being loved, cherished, and adored, and blah, 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 until suddenly he rips the carpet out from underneath her and turns into who he really is.
Uh,
And she's lost with a part of her is still yearning for the drug high, right?
right.
She's
Yeah.
now an addict,
Yeah.
and the other part of her is still trying to recover from the detox and finding out that so she needs to know what's real. Asking a man like this to love you is like asking a man with no arms to hold you. It's impossible. Like you get it. Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting. I mean, I can totally relate to that, as obviously a lot of women can. I don't know why we need that validation. Like, so what if he didn't love me? So what? Does that mean I'm unworthy? Or,
I,
like,
I think because you really want to know what was real and what wasn't.
yeah, that's for sure.
And suddenly, you think like you hear these stories about people married 20, 30 years, thought they had a good marriage, thought there was love there, and finds out one of the spouses has been having a deep affair for 2 or 3 years, possibly with a child. And how confusing is that?
Yeah. You mean having a child with that person?
No, no, that your spouse had
Yeah.
this affair
Right.
that you knew nothing about for years, and he's got this whole other family going.
Family.
Like what was real? Like, did they ever love me? And we could have a whole conversation about, the reality is that you can love multiple people at once. But if you take sacred vows and say, I'm going to be monogamous and be devoted to you, that should supersede any hormonal thing like, oh, wow, that would be really fun, you
Yeah.
know?
Or I'm missing something, so I need to go get it over here instead of addressing it with your spouse and
Right.
working on it
Or
together.
just basically say, listen, we've been together 40 years and you're not interested anymore, but I am, how about if I just don't tell you, you know, there's I don't know. I'm not a therapist, so I'm the wrong person to talk, and I'm very anti polyamory completely because I've witnessed how it doesn't work. with people who are very much committed to the process. And ultimately, it's like trying to have a three-legged chair and one of the legs is too short, it's like it doesn't work.
So I know with all your experience in your other books and just who you are and how you've helped others throughout the years, I know that there's the lessons intertwined in there. Was that intentional or just sort of
Oh,
is
no, no. They're in there because I was thinking about, well, if Holly was my friend and this is her problem, what would I share with her?
got
And
it?
it's just all that information is just there.
Yeah.
So, and then also the hero of the book um, is based on some love experts that I know really well, like personality wise. So pretty much every character in the book is based on one or two people that I turned into a composite character and changed their name.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
you want to write what you know.
Yeah. That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
Authors do. That's what I
Yeah.
teach my students to do as well. Wow, this is so rich. I love this and I'm excited for you about what's possible. We'll see what unfolds,
We'll
obviously.
see. Yeah.
Just being offered this, I'm sure you just feel honored for that in
Oh,
itself. What a gift.
yes, it was just, and the weird thing is that I wasn't surprised by it. Like
Mm,
there was some part of me that knew because I saw it as a movie in my head.
yeah.
I wrote it that way because people say to me, "Oh, it's so cinematic," but that's how it came to me. So when this whole thing came together, it wasn't like I had a vision board and doing affirmations, and it wasn't like that at all. I just knew that that's how the story's meant to be out there in a bigger way because it is. I don't know any woman who hasn't been betrayed at some point in her life.
Absolutely.
It's so
Yeah.
common,
Yeah.
but for the most part, you don't go around talking about it, especially if it's 5 or 10 years later and you still have all this pain and suffering over it. So,
Yeah.
the book for a lot of people is sort of a soothing balm for that pain.
I love that. Well, and what I've learned is that that big betrayal that we tend to hold on to is usually, I love the old, if you're pointing at somebody, you got three back at yourself. And it's like, how
Right.
can I betray myself in these ways? How could I have stayed in this relationship for as long as I did? I'm sure what she went through with the betrayal, that huge betrayal, like, how could I have let that happen? What was happening that inside of me that it was okay for this?
Right. Well, the very first line of the book is, "My mother was right,"
Ugh.
because her mother did try to tell her.
Oh,
And she, of course, wasn't listening because she was on the drugs,
yes,
right? And
yes.
she liked the drugs. And who wouldn't like the drugs? The drugs are fun, but it's also about, and a lot of times once you go through something like that, you don't often do it a second time unless it's a deep childhood pattern. If you've been betrayed by everybody you've ever had, it's like maybe it's time to stop dating for a while, find a good therapist or a good love coach or both.
Yeah, yeah, and dive in for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing about this. It's available through Amazon, obviously. Anywhere else that
Yeah.
we can find it?
I know initially it was in bookstores. I haven't been inside a bookstore in a while, so I don't know. But the easiest place to get it is definitely Amazon. And it's in paperback and it's also an audio. And the audio is fantastic because I found this woman who could do all the voices of all the characters and she did a great job. So if you like audiobooks, try that, or you can read it.
Yeah, paperback. Audible. I think it's on Audible. I saw
Yes.
for the audio version. That's amazing. Okay, so wrapping up, I would love to conclude with what has love taught you about yourself?
Oh, taught me about me. Um, I would say that it's taught me that even though I was a terrible student in school, I'm an excellent student of love, and
Oh,
that I've learned what works and what doesn't work, especially in my own relationship. And I'm constantly still learning. It's not, it's it's a never-ending process.
Yeah, I love to learn. I don't necessarily want to go to school to learn, even
Yeah.
though I have and gotten
Yeah.
multiple degrees, but I love to learn. I do think, I mean, we're here to learn and grow. So until we say goodbye and shuffle off this mortal coil, it's so important to keep learning
Yeah.
about ourselves and our hearts.
And then go and macrodose some love.
Yes. Starting with yourself first and
Yeah.
then bring it out to the world. Well, thank you so much, Arielle, for being on my show. This means everything to me. It was such a pleasure to meet you and get to speak with you about this. And I will put any information for you listeners in the notes section of where to get the book, how to reach out to Arielle, her newsletter, all the things will be in there. So you
Great.
can find that in there.
Thank
All right.
you.
Wonderful. So we hope you guys have a good day and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.